All right, guys, I figured I would address a couple things before I get started here. Saw some questions on this, and I wanted to make sure. Again, none of these questions I don't think are considered to me negative. They're just, objections to what I'm doing. No big deal. But some of you guys are questioning or wondering, again, why didn't I replace the panel that's behind this one with the restoration panel? And I'll go over a few things on that. Some of you guys are maybe considering that, and I'm not going to discourage you from doing that. If you want to, that's your way to do it. I've done both. Okay, I think I'm thinking about 6 or 7 noses on these. So the lower nose section, every one of them, this panel has had to be replaced or repaired, and the inner panel has had to be repaired or replaced on every bus that I've owned. So let's go over this. Okay, on the inner panel, one guy says, why did you make sections versus just making one piece? I've done that before. So I've done all those things, different things before. I made the one piece inner piece and then slit cut the bottoms all the way down. Going upward, it's harder to cut upward. Okay. You could do it before you put it on maybe, but it's harder to cut this direction. And then trying to bend them all at the same rate. So that it will match up here. You're bending it and then bending the next one. It ends up being really kind of wobbly as you go along, and it was quite a bit harder to do that. So making small patch pieces behind here was easier, and that way it would follow the radius easier. So that was the solution for that. The other thing is why didn't I replace the entire panel? One reason is because some of you guys may not want to spend the money for that, or maybe you're doing a repair to yours, and that's a good way to do the repair. Maybe you just need the middle section of it done. So I thought maybe it would be easier to give you guys the ideas for that. Also, replacing the inner panel. I think what guys aren't understanding is this panel above. Let's look at it from the inside. This panel right here, okay, is spot welded here. Okay, it's connected a lot of places. This one here, and this one here is actually on top. So it comes down and it goes like this, and it ends up on top of the lower inner support. So in order to remove that, if you guys are going to do it that way, like I said, it's up to you. What you do is you cut this lip off right here, okay, on the inner panel. You cut the slip off down, and then what I do is you can use your little saw, you can use an air chisel, you can use, whatever, and you peel the 2 layers apart. It's too hard to reach the drill, to get a drill in here. You'd have to cut the whole nose off, or, up to here or whatever, If you're going to do the whole lower nose section, it might be easier to use this, to do this. You end up drilling out all the spot welds, and then most of the time you end up having to do repairs to that inner panel. Sometimes you damage it, trying to take it loose between this piece here, and it rests on top again of this one. And it's very odd shaped, this panel right here. You can't really see it because it goes down. It's very odd shaped, and it kind of goes in and out and stuff like this. Okay, so it's very odd shaped, and it's very hard to repair. You have to make little pieces like I did in here, and that takes a lot of time to fix. So, I've done it both ways. I've done it the way that I did last time, and what I did in the video for you guys a few weeks ago, or a few days ago. I don't know when I'm going to release this. But I found it to be quite a bit easier to repair. That it took about, and people go, wow, you used a lot of welding, a lot of time. No, not really. It probably took me, I'm thinking about 2 to 3 hours to do fabricate that whole thing with those little L pieces, putting them all in. It didn't take that long at all to do. It's actually very easy to make. The putting in the inner panel, and with the thoughts of that you have to remove it. Okay, you have to remove the other one. Okay, and cut off this area. I can't get to it now, but you have to cut off where it attaches to the frame, above and below. You're welding upward on the frame. Very hard to weld up, guys. So you're welding upward to put the brackets on the frame. You're welding down the top of it. You have to the floors out. Or if you don't do that, then you have to, there's a series of spot welds in here that you have to just drill out on the new panel and replace it. It does take a lot of time to do that. I've done it. It's done in both ways. And repairing that inner panel is much faster. And if you can see, the end result is about the same. Now, you might say, well, that nice new inner panel is nice and straight. It fits right. No, no, they don't fit very good. And maybe the new ones from Wolfsburg West, they do better. But a lot of the older ones were made by Clocker Home, the black ones, you know, the black ones, and the weld edge on the bottom is, you got to do a lot of straightening to make that thing work. So, you know, experience, I've done it both. Okay, I've done it a couple times. You know, make up your own mind, of course, but that's the challenges I've ran into. That lower section, maybe on the Wolfsburg West, the new ones that are gray, the ones that used to be up that were black from Clocker Home, no, they didn't fit very good at all. So maybe the new ones that are gray fit better, but I'm guessing you're going to have some challenges on fitting every panel, because you're going to have the Wolfsburg West one, maybe the gray one, let's say, or if you got it from also Gerson from Classic Fab makes that one as well, and I don't know how his fits at all because I haven't tried it. But you might have issues with fitting with the other one. This just went together. So, and if you can see, this is a little bit wavy. If you look at the original, it was a little bit wavy. It's just the way this panel was originally. It was not really it was very crude, the under portion of it. So it ended up turning out about the same, in my opinion, about the same as the original. Still need to finish grinding that little section down. Oh, my battery's up, I can do that. But, and I'm going to go ahead and paint behind here again. I'm going to go ahead and clean it again behind there and just paint it again, and then paint here. Now, the issue I'll run into, of course, when I put the new piece on is there is going to be paint on here and paint on the inner panel that I'm putting on, the outer panel. But most of the time you end up welding it at some point. I don't think I can crimp this whole edge and just have that be. No, I think I'm going to have to do some welding too. But you end up doing some welding on that. You end up doing some spot welds along here, or butt welding it, however you're going to do it. And you end up with open area behind there. And there's almost no way to get to assure that you'll have paint on those areas. So, you know, eventually it'll rust again. Again, like I said, hopefully the bus has a better life now than it did when it was originally made. Because, you know, if you're going to take good care of it now, it probably won't rust. So even if you didn't paint it, because you're probably going to keep it inside, I would hope, or sheltered somehow. So anyway, I figured I'd address that before we get going, and just to help you guys that maybe see the comments, or guys who are making the comments, no problems. Please make those comments. But it'll help you kind of understand why I did it the way I did it, and because I've done it both ways, and it is easier and faster to do it the way I did it. I would do that again. And the next bus I do, I will do it the same way. Well, I might have to replace it on the other one I'm doing out there. So, because it's just so bad. this look like. Let's put the first coat of primer on that. And then just ran through and just sanded this down once. Missed a couple little areas right here, so I'm going to have to run through and do it one more time. There's a little nasty spot in the corner there. Let's look at that real quick. Yeah, there's not much more to do here. I mean, still got a seam seal, I think right here. I just sealed this with filler, the edge here. And it's flexible filler, so, or somewhat flexible. So anyway, high stress stuff. Got to do some more seam sealing on this stuff. But anyway, that's what the jams look like there. Look at this. That's that. Went ahead and sanded that real quick. You can see the welds along there, where they spot welded along there. That's not in my work, but anyway, it should look good. What do you guys think? Think that looks pretty good? Maybe if it'll focus. Yeah, it's focusing all right. Okay, now that's doing a light change. Let's try it again. All right. Okay. Autofocus. Okay, there we go. How's that look? I got this here painted. That's a little dust on there from something. But yeah, I've got that all painted satin black just to, for now. You can see how the bottom edge, it's not that bad even without anything. Nope. That's actually a DTM paint that I put on here. So it doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's underneath the bumper, so you can't really see it. I could actually fill it later. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. Got a little bit of filler on here. That's what the other side looked like. This has all been treated again. I sanded this again, treated it. Sometimes, you know, I treat everything usually twice. I want to make sure I get everything, because sometimes I'll sand it off and then I didn't have treatment underneath and it didn't penetrate all the way through. So I'll sand off what I can and then do it again, and then that's kind of where I'm at right here. And this will get primed again, and then more stuff on that. I've done it before where I didn't have a stretcher, so I slit cut all the way over, and then I just welded up the cracks, which can be done no problem as well. It just takes a little bit of time to weld up all those little slits in there. This is meant to wrap around the edge, so now I've got to figure out, like I've got this part right here where it's double layered, and I can either cut this one up higher, or kind of trying to figure that out right now. I may cut it up a little bit higher, and I don't know, it's kind of a pain to do, so trying to cut that thing up higher and then pull that piece off. So I may just butt up to here and then have it just go right up against this little corner, and I won't weld that because it's really hard to grind in the corners. So then I'll just go over at an angle and I'll weld all that and then grind that in, and just fill it. You know, it possibly could crack there, but I doubt it will. So, but you know, I'm trying to figure all that out right now. And then I don't know, I might just cut the nose off. Usually I end up with the nose piece off, so I might just cut this sucker off right here and then put this underneath and then just weld that back in place. So that's usually how I do it. I usually end up making, usually this has pits in it and holes in it too. I don't really know, it feels like there might be some rust down there, so it might be a good idea just to lop that thing off, and then either, you know, I can weld the same one back on or make a new one. Whatever, it all works. So anyway, but that'll make it a lot easier for me to lay this piece in. That's what I was thinking about, so I might just do that. went down okay. I can't tell if it might be too low right there, which is good. I'd rather have it a little too low than too high. I think it's actually perfect all the way across right now. So probably don't even need to do any shrinking to that one. I'll have to get my straight edge out and really check it out good. You know, that's how I know how much filler I'm going to put on. Put the straight edge on there, and if you go look at it and you go, whoa, better not put that much filler on. That's when you start doing some more work. So anyway, I've done this before. Again, I slit cut it all the way without using the shrinker. I don't know if this is much easier, maybe a little bit, but not that much, because if you grind all the tops of the welds off, it can be done pretty easily by just welding up the slits and then rolling it. I did make it a little bit too long, so I'll probably back this thing up in the daylight, and I'll put something as a straight edge. I think I'll use my plasma cutter, and I'll just take and put something like a little piece of steel up against here, and I'll just go and it'll move it down a little bit, and do a little bit more, do a little bit more, and it'll be kind of not totally round, and then I'll just grind it a little bit, whatever, to finish it, and then roll it underneath. And then of course when I get all done in the front up here, you guys, I make that little nose piece and put it on top and Frankenstein it in. It works great. It will go, oh no, that won't work. Well, it works fine. You know, you end up with a little bit of filler, and you can't really even see it at all. I mean, every one of them I've done, nobody's ever been able to know. They go, wow, they saw me do it, and they're like, some of the friends of mine that have seen it, and they're like, wow, I saw you do that, and I can't believe how good it looks. I can't even tell. Because I was doing videos, I was not doing videos, but I was doing my restoration stuff and posting pictures on Facebook, so a lot of people knew about it before I was doing YouTube. And then I decided, well, shoot, why not do YouTube? Because then more people can see it, and maybe I can teach a few things to more people, and not just be, you know, another admirer, you know, somebody admiring my work, but somebody could actually learn from it. You know, maybe you can learn how to do it, how not to do it, however you want. I don't know. That's up to you. I think a lot of people are going to learn, more people are going to learn how to. I've had several people at shows tell me that they've watched my videos, and several, more than one, have told me the same thing, that they've watched the videos and learned stuff, and their car is sitting right there because of the videos that I made. So it's pretty cool. I love to see that stuff. Catch me at the shows. If you have a car, I really want to start doing some car interviews. So you guys who are have those cars, maybe approach me again, and maybe I can, well, if we have a show, I mean, they canceled the one tomorrow, coronavirus. So anyway, bummer. You know, this is going to happen. I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but anyway, let's hope not for too long. But anyway, I don't want anyone to get sick, and want to make. I'm not really worried about it for myself, but there's people that really don't want to get that. You know, that's really bad for them. It could, you know, kill them or something. I don't think it would kill me, but some people might. So anyway, back to the metalwork. If you guys catch me at the show, I want to do like car interviews coming up with, you know, the story of the car, where you got it, tell us about it, what work you did to it, what you had to have done, that sort of thing. I think it'd be really cool for other people to see that. I think Hot VWs is going to want to do the same thing. Of course, they're going to do it with their own spin, so it'll be kind of cool to have a few different people doing that, and it'd be kind of fun for you guys building your cars to share your stories with other people in the world. All right, I'll talk to you next one, next portion. We'll move on. Alright, let's cut this off. Show you guys in real time how I do it. You guys can see. Well, yeah, I'll put you guys right here. A little better. I think you guys can see a little bit better right there. I don't want to just stare at my backside. Move you over here a little bit. Check that out. So you guys can see okay. Alright, came off pretty easy. Hoping it wasn't going to be all chattery. Sometimes it is, so checking that right now. When I make this piece, I got to make one of these. So what I'm going to do is have to cut it a little bit larger than what it was, and then I'll shrink it down with once I'm done. So I'll cut out a piece about like this. Since I got the plasma cutter running, and then I'm going to go just a little longer for my lap. Then I'll cut this. I'll slit cut all the way around here. Okay, and then this will lap over the top, and I'll shape it a little bit more and get it ground down in towards that shape. Okay. Then I'm just going to weld it right on there on the front. Frankenstein. Piece it together. Looks the same when it's done. Every one of my buses is done like that, so don't be ashamed. I'm happy I sport it just fine. things I wish I would have done. I would have used a smaller bit and these. It made it a little more tough to bend those edges over, so I may just end up cutting those off and just filling that edge with weld. Probably what I'll do, the easiest way out. And then just grind it out, make it look good. And I don't know if I'll put that all on camera because it just takes a lot of time. Just set the camera up and move it and make sure it's in frame and all that. Of course, sometimes I don't get it in frame. You guys notice that too. But anyway, you can see that what I do with the nose, I just make a little piece. And when it's all done, it's down so low in the body line, even if it's a little bit off, nobody really notices it. It's funny. And every single bus has been fixed in that same area that I own, same way. And tons of them are at the shows like that. They're all fixed. They're all done. Every single one of these rusts out right there because, you know, water's going to get in there again. There's no way. There's no way for water to come out. So anyway, I'm going to do a little more grinding. Got to finish doing this bend here, down there. As you can see, I didn't need to cut it all the way around, only where the welds were really. So I didn't need to do all those slits in there. It worked actually okay over here. I thought it might not, but just so you know, when you do yours, you might be able to take some of these advantages, some of the ways I did it. Because I'm doing it different than I usually do. So I usually just cut slits in there all the way along and then bend it. But this time I decided to do it with the stretcher. And if you saw that, that's how I did it. I stretched the metal, and that makes it want to make the bend. Of course, if you notice, the bend goes more right here, and then it flattens out a little bit. So you got to kind of do most of your bending right here in that area. All you got to do is roll this over a little bit more. It's pretty tiring down here, being low to the ground. Let's get a shot back here so you guys can see everything. It's kind of tiring down low like that, and your back is getting tired doing that. So it's not a very fun position to be in working. So I'm glad to get this. I'll be glad when this is done. These noses always wear me out, especially when you got all three layers. Now I've already done, you know, the inner panel, the lower panel, and then this one. And then there's a fourth layer. If you guys really want to love yourselves, you can do this piece too. But then we got to drill all these spot welds right here out and replace this panel. It's not that easy. It's not that hard either, but you know, you have to have the floor all the way out for that. You know, the whole floor would have to be out. So, you know, you have to do that before you put the floor in, or you have to cut the floor out and do it. So I wouldn't go there. That's up to you. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and make your comments. You know, good or bad, it doesn't matter. I'll take them. Just, you know, there's some people who are not going to like this. Some people are going to like it. Some are going to love it. And that's just the reality of metalwork. You know, depends on how you do it and how it looks. You know, when it's done, to me, it's going to be the same. But, you know, somebody wants to see what's underneath the Spanx, right? The Spanx, this bus is wearing some serious Spanx, man. But it's going to look great. So it looks great in Spanx. Who cares? You know, if women look good in Spanx, you know, let them wear them. Shoot, whatever you think. You know, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be. We're not seeing what's underneath all the time. All right, I'll talk to you next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.